Go Gators! Go Gators! Go Gators! Welcome in to Gators Talk, guys. I am your host, Millionaire Trader Alex Jenkins. And we're back one more time for another show, guys. And what you see on the screen is Josh Pate from 8 Kick. Also a CBS contributor. Well, good job on that, Josh. The paper-popping man himself. White t-shirt wearing man himself. Josh Pate. Been doing a wonderful job over there, man. Been doing a wonderful job. But we want to talk about what you said today. Well, what you said on your podcast about Florida Fanbase Mood. It's a guy that, he does a great job at what he does. That's not no slight. That's the real thing, man. This guy does a good job. He earned his way there. Doing what we're doing right here, smart guys do smart things, move on up the ladder if you're any good at it, But this ain't the jab at Josh Pate. This is just a difference of opinion. But I'm not gonna continue to talk, guys. I'm gonna let Josh tell you how he feel about the Florida fan base and you guys Mood, the regular guys, the regular fan.
The mood tracker is just where we take our thermometer and boop, safely into the fan base, and then we pull it out, and what does the thermometer say? Well, it doesn't give us a temperature reading, it gives us a mood reading. This is not the fringe 5% on either side that think you're going undefeated or you're going winless. We want to know what the normal, the everyday Florida fan is thinking right now. Because it hasn't been the most fun last several months. You had the Jaden Rashada thing, and this has been seen nationally, by the way. A lot of people nationally, when they mention Florida football, Billy Napier right now, they're thinking, oh, that's that school that lost out on Rashada. Oh, they've had back-to-back losing seasons. First time since 78 and 79? Are you kidding me? That's the last time Florida had back-to-back losing seasons, and they've had a bunch of coaches leave. So this is a synopsis of what the nation thinks about Florida. What is the mood inside the Florida fan base? No one knows how to get inside the heads of Florida fans more than me. And I say that both sarcastically and realistically, because we have such a love-hate relationship with the Florida fan base. By that I mean some of them think we hate them for no reason, and we actually love them for many reasons, and that's how the love-hate relationship works. Armed and ready is how I describe the mood of the Florida fan base right now. You see, they love Florida. They know, they have a keen sense of awareness when outsiders are trying to come after them, especially when some outsiders, let's say in the regional and national media, not even to mention other fan bases, are using some tough times to disproportionately paint a negative light over the program. The Rashada stuff happened. Losing coaches, although I would argue they didn't lose them. I mean, going to the NFL is not losing anyone, but that's happened. Them not recruiting quite as well as people have wanted. Yeah, that's happened. It's also not dire straits down there. And the back-to-back losing seasons thing is not something Billy Napier brought with him necessarily. It's a lot of what he inherited. So anyway, my strategy is normally to err on the side of benefit of the doubt in the spring. The fan base doesn't have to be that way, though. What I mean when I say the Florida mood is armed and dangerous is these people are ready to fight for Billy Napier. These people are ready to fully buy in. These folks are ready to go to war for him. They just have to be given a reason to believe. One of the great Rod Stewart songs of all time. And I highly recommend the unplugged version. You give them a reason to believe, and that's all they'll need. Just need the spark. Just need the spark. Thought we had it last year when they beat Utah, and then the Kentucky game happened the next week, and Anthony Richardson had no clue where the ball was even going, and then they started slipping away. Well, what do they need this year? What do they need? What is that reason to believe? Well, I'll tell you, the first one would be, sure would help if Graham Mertz ended up fulfilling on some of the early whispers. And there are never negative whispers in the spring, so I know I've had a lot of you hit me up. Hey, what do you think about Graham Mertz now? Well, what I think he's gone through a few practices down there in shorts, and he's looked like most quarterbacks do in shorts. Let's give it some time. I have healthy suspicion that Graham Mertz is going to light the SEC on fire, but I'm the same person who believed in him at Wisconsin 2 years ago. So who knows? Maybe he'll round into form down there. That would help. That's the first thing. The second thing is the replacements that Billy Napier has had to bring in. You know, the Austin Armstrongs of the world, for example, on defense. They have to pay off. He has to hit on his coaching additions. Now, you can either look at the defensive losses one of two ways. You can either say, they lost their defensive coordinator. Or you can say, ooh, they were 102nd in yards per game allowed last year. We need change defensively. I would probably, especially if I were a Florida fan, choose to lean towards the latter mentality. But really, here's what it comes down to. Okay, we're talking about individualized aspects of the program. What it really comes down to is the aggregate of the gains that you have in the year 1 to year 2 transition under a quality coach have to be enough to overcome the individual losses. They have to be enough to overcome the individual negatives. You're going to have leaks, certainly. But if you're bailing water faster than the water's coming in, that's all you need. You're not going to be a finished product in year 2. And what I respect about Napier, and I've listened to him talk a lot down there, is he's no different. His mentality's no different than the guy in Athens, than the guy in Tuscaloosa. He doesn't have quite the experience level of some of those guys, but his mentality's no different. He's got a system, got a process he believes in, doesn't particularly care what outsiders think, and he's going to stick to it. We have seen Mike Norvell do that recently at Florida State, and it is just now starting to pay off. Had Mike Norvell cared what people said about him the first 2 years, he never would have seen it through to year 3. If the administration cared what other folks were saying, they wouldn't have allowed Mike Norvell to make it through to year 3. Now, I know my friends down in Gainesville don't necessarily want the Tallahassee to Gainesville corollary here, but broad strokes purposes, what I mean is you got to give a guy time. You can't tell me how disastrous the end of the last regime was, but then say, well, if the next guy didn't win in year 1, we're screwed. No, you're not. Norvell wasn't. I happen to think Sark in Texas will make a jump this year, and we'll find ourselves talking about him similarly. Sark wasn't. You just needed 3 years. Sometimes even this day and age, you need 3 years. Lincoln Riley didn't need 3 years. Each situation is different. Apples to bowling balls. Maybe he needs 2 years. Maybe he needs 3 years. Kirby Smart almost lost to Nicholls State his first year, and that was at Georgia. That was a much more pristine situation than any of the guys I just mentioned inherited. So let's just give it a little time. But the Florida Mood, armed and ready, you give them just an inkling of a reason to believe, and they'll be the Florida fans that we all know and love. Guys, thanks for watching Late Kick. Make sure to leave a comment. I love interacting with you. But most of all, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That's how we keep all of this free.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down, Mr. Josh Pate. Slow down. You say armed and ready? No. I don't think the Florida fan base is armed and ready. I think we're ready, but we need to see more good signs from the coach. We need to see them get better on the recruiting trail. Not have the boggles that you speak of, as in the Jaden Rashada debacle. The Gator Collective, I don't know what they had going on. You had one thing you had to do was get that 5-star quarterback on campus. They fumbled that. Yes, they did. And Florida fans was mad about that, man. They really was mad. We boast and jumped for joy when he committed to us and signed. And we got him locked in. We good to go. They pulled the rug right from underneath our feet. That old Gator Collective. Then yes, we had back-to-back losing seasons. We ain't had that in so long. It's ridiculous. So y'all, we're just not just armed and ready. If we're armed and ready, it's gonna be going the other way. But we gonna pull back. We gonna pull back those strings a little bit. We're not gonna be that ready. We're not gonna be that ready. Even though we had back-to-back losing seasons and the possibility of having another one. That's not gonna be good. And yes, and because of those losing seasons, guess who's been on our behinds? The other fan bases like the Georgias, the Florida States, the Miamis, and anybody else in the SEC. We lost to all our rivals. We can't even talk noise. They could even talk noise about us about Vanderbilt. And not alone that, the national media. Oh, they've been crushing them. They've been crushing us. They really ain't taken a liking of Billy Napier because he's so monotone in his response. He's very repetitive in the things he say. Yeah, he says, "Yeah, I sound like a broken record." Yes, you do. You gonna have to bring in that coaching persona out, wherever that is. He's going to bring that out at some point, or you ain't gonna make it. You're not gonna make it, man. But recruiting wasn't as well as we thought it would be last year. We had started off slow. We didn't have any recruits. None but Aaron Gates, our lone recruit that was a holdover from the last regime. He held strong. We had a slow start. It picked up in the summertime. And then we missed on a few guys that the writers and all the insiders told us we had a lock on. We missed on those guys. We whiffed. We thought we had them. Missed. They let the Florida fans down. They let us down. Then we get a guy, but it's not the guy that we thought was going to get. It's that type of situation. It is recruiting. You're not going to get everybody that's on your board, but you want to at least try to get if you got a top 15, you want to at least try to get a third of those guys. If you can get a third of those guys, you're doing pretty good. And we're talking about a top 15, and most people have like a top 50, and they give out at least 40, 50 scholarships a year. It got to be more than that. So we got to get some of those guys. But it wasn't a good recruiting year as well. So, yeah, Florida fans didn't feel that great. But we did have a few good guys that we're happy about. But it's nothing that was going to put us over the top. We still was outside of the top 10. So, not granted, we dealing with it. We dealing with it. We said, okay, Billy, give us another year of recruiting. We'll see what you do next year in recruiting. All right. Granted, we know it's your first time in the South down here for real, recruiting with the big boys and going after the top prospects. It's your first time. It's your first rodeo. But you was brought in here to do so. And you went to Scott Strickland and said you studied this already. You ready for this. Don't forget you did that. But he did inherit a Mullen mess. Mullen 10-2, first couple of years, New Year's Six bowls. Gators looking like we on the up and up. We finna swing back on up. Nope. His guys finally got a chance to play, and they didn't do that well. And then the Graham Mertz situation. Murder Mertz. The fan base didn't want him. Let's be honest. Y'all ain't want from Graham Mertz. It's like he's barely wins ball games. And then not alone that, other fans, they're making us the laughing stock because of this. Everybody wanted Devin Leary. Give us DJ Uyunglele. Graham Mertz. This is who you scouted? Now, he was highly touted quarterback coming out of high school. Everybody's going to talk about that first game. Oh, how wonderful he was in that game. But it was only one game. You've been the starter for 3 years. Granted, that Wisconsin wasn't Wisconsin of the old. So guess what? He didn't look that good as well. Now, we lost staff. We lost the Patrick Tony to Arizona. We lost Pigler to Arizona. We lost Kerry Colbert. I'm trying to think we went Denver. We lost some guys, man. And Kerry Colbert was a blow because he was doing a good job, especially at recruiting and starting to gradually bring in top quality talent. We was liking that. Pigley was working. He didn't do much. He ain't have much to work with. He still does. He still didn't. He got a few guys to work with, but he was working his magic. He was starting to work his magic a little bit on the recruiting trail. We was satisfied with what he was doing. Patrick Tony, it's a 50-50. Some people want to see how well he was going to do. Some people they seen that first year, they was like, nah, we don't want this guy. So some people was happy, some people wasn't. But it was a 50-50, 50-60, or excuse me, 60-40 type deal. It's definitely one of those swings, man. If it was a swing, there's definitely a few swing fans in there. So, it's up and down. Now we got Austin Armstrong, 29-year-old. We talking about young blood out here. They're excited because they said, they're saying he's aggressive. They just saying it. That's just something that they need to tell the Florida fan base. Hey, we got you guys a new toy. It's just a little bit faster, and it's a little bit meaner. Got your new toy. It got a few more gadgets with it, but it's still the same toy. But we will see. We're gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. Young guy, fiery guy. We give him benefit of the doubt. And we picked up Billy Gonzalez. He's back here for the third time. Well, it's mixed feelings. People thought that was going to make a splash higher with the wide receiver coach, knowing that we was going after Jeremiah Smith and really trying to upgrade our position, that wide receiver position. So they thought that was going to make a splash higher. And we got Billy Gonzalez again. Yeah, again. But, he brought in some good guys, Kadarius Toney, even though half the guys that's in the roster that's in that wide receiver rooms are his guys. So they're like, that's the welcome back party that's happening in the locker room. So a couple of pats on the back, catching up or whatever. You know how that goes. But now the Billy Napier system and its army of coaches. Hey, with that army of coaches, we're going to need a return on our investment soon, because the program laid out some extra money for a bigger, larger staff. We got a new facility. Everything you need is at your disposal. So we need to see some results, because the Gators is a top 5 program. But in football, we're outside of the top 25. That ain't something that we gonna live with. That's just as plain and simple as that. We'll deal with it when it's happening. But you think we're gonna continue to live with it? I don't think so. But the fan bases really want us, they're in the sit and wait mode right now. So we're gonna continue to observe who this guy is, and what kind of system he's bringing in. He's sticking to his guns. Is he a Mike Norvell? We don't know. Mike Norvell was digging in that transfer portal real heavy. He was propping up that program till he tried to bring in some more guys. We can't go that route. We need to recruit our guys, develop our guys, and let's go. and get them coached up and start winning. You want to cure this whole mood thing and all this stuff? Billy Napier, get some wins. And make sure we stop losing offensive linemen. But that's my thoughts on it. I think Josh Pate's just a little off on his hypothesis, his theory, his feelings about the Florida fan base. You know, he's always tapped in, as he said. That's what's going on, guys. But tell me what you guys think. And make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and comment as well. It's all about the orange and blue, guys. I'm out.